Morning, welcome to Pitchfork Politics. I'm Christopher Gill. We're going to talk about things, just things. Politics. We go talk a little bit of sports. I am Christopher Gill and this is the main man, red man himself, Michael Awai. Talk, Michael.
I will be changing the country problem by problem.
Like Jesus Christ?
Possibly.
You sure?
Not PNM, not UNC, not PP, not DOG, not CAT.
Just problem by
Just
problem.
problem by problem.
And we have plenty problems to talk about.
Every day.
Every day. And listen, we have a lot of discussion about things all the time and we want to get past that kind of, I want to call it a kind of immature form of politics that everybody seems to engage in quite often.
We're on the wrong track. We need to get on track and we need to get going. Farley or no Farley.
Farley. Well, hey, you talk about Farley. Let me browse into the papers there a little bit. Now, one of the failings that we will talk about eventually is, of course, in my view, the failings of the newspaper, right? The newspaper is failing the public at large. But that's a discussion for another day. Today's the first day. We don't want to rile up things too hot in each session.
Hey, rile it up. What are you talking about?
That there is Dennis.
No.
Dennis.
I just here to facilitate.
Facilitate. Rile it up. Listen, talking about Farley. The whole thing about Farley, there was a comment made by the Prime Minister yesterday morning. He said he had a breakfast party. And he had brunch with the PNMIs.
Well, this is normal. Every couple of years they hold this at they had it the last time by Nicholas Hotel.
You was invited?
No, I'm not on any board. I'm not on cardboard, hardboard, or any board for that matter. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in earning money on false pretenses.
The people on the board doing a job.
They are, because you need to have those boards. But I don't want to be on any board. I think I can make a better contribution than just being on a board, getting board fees and getting lunch and dinner and three-piece suits and those things. I'm not into that.
He made a comment that he doesn't want Tobago to become adrift. He doesn't want Tobago to, I don't know, he go in and keep his eye on Tobago. With all due respect, Keith Rowley, I feel Tobago politics is way ahead of Trinidad politics. That's just my view. I don't know what you think.
Well, you know, Tobago is Tobago. Tobago is not Trinidad. It is Trinidad and Tobago. So therefore, they have their own way, just like Caroni have their own way, doubles and Sahina and whatever else.
I find Tobago politics is vastly different. There's no race involved.
Well,
there's no race politics in Tobago.
Well, that is because they are all black people there, okay?
Right.
99% of the people, generally. Their culture is different.
Yes.
Okay, they know each other and they are feeding off the trough of Trinidad and Tobago's finances.
Yeah, true.
Okay, and so they are doing very well. They have 35,000 people in that place. Digger Martin has about 95,000. Caroni have about 116,000.
35?
Well, I heard it 35. I don't know, I could be wrong.
Could be 50.
Okay, so it's 50. But you know, everybody now has duplicated Trinidad. Three-piece suit, big hat, SUV, all of this kind of thing. And yet the people in the country can't seem to, they have lost their way. Between James, Farley, Duke, everybody, they lose their way.
Duke don't have energy. He say his piggy does not have energy for all the trouble.
Well, if you're calling it a piggy, then you have a problem. If you're calling it a piggy, you have a problem.
Duke say, anyway, I'm going to give it, people, there's some of the headlines.
Duke said his piggy is tired.
Tired. Little piggy is tired. He say piggy tired. Well,
no, there are black piggies and pink piggies. So you have to understand which piggy it is.
I don't see some take down waters already.
All right. PM sends warning to Farley. Be careful you breach the law.
We breach the law every day. Every day we breach the law. We parking bad by the corner. Talk to Joel Martinez, he will tell you. Everybody's parking inside the woodwork.
Yeah, I went in town the other day.
You're parking anywhere?
They're parking anywhere, both sides of the road. I thought the record was coming back. They said the record wasn't coming since COVID. Now COVID is done nearly a year. COVID is officially done, finished, it's done.
We talking AI, chat GPT. That's what we talking in the world. The mayor is talking about a record. Give me a break.
Secondary school system breeding uneducated gang members.
Well,
you know what? This is something that, what's the man's name? He dead now, poor fella, God bless his soul. He used to have a Morgan Job. Morgan Job said this in 1990. That is, what, 33 years ago? And the same Keith Rowley, this Keith Rowley right here, Prime Minister Keith Rowley. I remember Keith Rowley used to criticize him.
Dr. Keith Rowley.
Doctor.
Since 1978.
He get 2 certificates. Doctor. Keith Rowley. So now he coming to talk about he take 33 years to recognize that?
That what? That you have a lot of uneducated people?
No, that secondary school system is breeding uneducated gang members.
So is the parliament? I do understand what you're saying. All that has happened with the politicians in the parliament is that whoever more bold-faced than anybody else percolate to the top. That's all that happened.
Answer that phone quick, David.
Answer that phone. So, all right, but let me go there. We have a violent system. We have violence in schools. They're not making any headway in the world. What do you think we could do?
We have been doing the same thing for the last number of years, maybe decades, and expecting to get different results. And it cannot work. That cannot work. Unless and until you understand. We believe that the Minister of National Security is the CEO of the police service. He isn't. They make policy. The person who's in charge is Miss Ulla Christopher, whatever her name is.
Yes.
Okay?
Who probably
who was always an administrative person working in an office at payroll and human resources and so on. There's no policing.
She was 12th on the list.
Well, I don't into
the
the 9th and 10th and 12th. I'm not into the Guy Griffith stuff. I'm not into all of those things. We are doing the same thing and believe that what we are doing is going to solve the problem. And it is not solving the problem. And when we are not taking the hard decisions about a lot of things, about education, about human rights, about the jail system, the jammers in the police, in the jail, the people on the road. Look at the policemen dying from accidents. There should be certain examples.
They should be.
They're not doing that.
But you know what? I'm going to read because I want to read for you. Don't get vexed.
You know you could read? You could read?
I could read. I am not an uneducated young member. When we went to school, that wasn't the scene. Speaking with members of the business community at breakfast with the Prime Minister at the Hilton Trinidad in Port of Spain yesterday, we got all of that. Anyhow, Rowley lamented the significant amounts of young people pass through the secondary school system without learning anything. He blamed the automatic promotion of all children into secondary school as the main contributor to the problem. Because once you have made the decision that everybody goes to high school, these questions remain. What about those children who enter secondary school system having not been readied in primary school system? When they get into the secondary school system, what is the curriculum that they are going to follow? Is it the curriculum of the primary school as a continuation, or the curriculum of secondary school that they can't cope with?
I have heard that statement in another format, not necessarily by Dr. Rowley. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Okay? Now, we had John Lee teaching people plumbing and electrical and so on. It has changed to UTT. Everybody has certification. They're paying a professor $70,000 a month to teach kids and stuff and have things all over the place. Now, unless and until we understand that we have to change the system, it's going to continue the way it is. Everybody send the children to lessons from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for common entrance. As soon as you finish that, into Form 2, 3, 4, and 5 lessons, CXC. So everybody has certificate, everybody has degrees. I mean, who have degree, who get a degree in the office without setting the exam, who get a degree,
right.
whatever. Everybody now believes that they should have a doctorate, an MBA, a BSc,
2 doctorates,
or whatever they have, okay? We are not providing plumbers, we are not providing skilled people, we are not providing electricians, we are not providing good joiners. So what are we doing? We're importing stuff from China. You can't get a good joiner today to fix a door. You buy a new door. I mean, you know, it's crazy. And unless and until we understand that we have to change that whole system, we're going to continue to be the way we are. We talk about the cost of the oil. I mean, if you remove the oil and gas on Trinidad Tobago, we just like St. Vincent.
Worse off than them. We worse off than them. I could safely say, I thought that when the COVID came, it was a perfect opportunity for the Ministry of Education to change the entire education system, or at least modify it in a significant manner. That wasn't done. What we did is we went back to exactly where we were prior to the COVID pandemic. And it wasn't working before, it ain't working now, right? So it wasn't going on work, right? There are schools, like you point out, my neighbor, I have neighbors, the children going particularly high quality primary schools. The children going lessons on a Saturday. They're going lessons during school vacation to go to do common entrance. Call it what you will, to do common entrance. That's what it is. For what? For what really? To get into where? To do what? To go through the same process again to come out?
Chris, that's our standard. We believe that you should have 5 subjects, you should have 2 A-levels, then you should go to university, you get a degree, and instead of offer to do nothing for the rest of your life. Wait for 33 years, retire, and get pension. That is the mantra in the country. We are not producing and developing new things. I have mentioned before in several areas about hydroponics and agriculture to feed ourselves. Nobody believes that. They want to buy, what do you think? You think the box, the cereal thing. How do you call that again? Cereal, this and that, special K and this and that. The only important stuff, where is the foreign exchange coming from? We don't know. I asked a guy the other day, where do we get foreign exchange? He said the bank. He said the bank.
Not this wrong.
No, he said, he's right. You get it there. But I said to him, okay, how does the bank get it? He said, I got to check the bank and find out.
No, you know what? What you talk about? Hydroponics. We've been talking about agriculture for it, right? We can't feed ourselves. That's a big scene in this country, right? We can't feed ourselves. We don't know where next meal's coming from. And I'm being a little, exaggerating it.
You're being a little accurate.
I've been accurate, all right. But they have gotten to the point now that hydroponics are happening in a container. You don't even need a piece of land. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, you can actually have a container, a 40-foot container, and you're producing quality produce in that, right? So it's secure. When you finish, you lock it up, done. When you come back in the day, you open it. You have your light, you have everything running. We could put on 40-foot container. How much 40-foot container you could put on in an acre land? 1,000, right? Could make it happen.
You see, we have been accustomed to using money to buy things that we see on TV. All the foreign things. And we don't understand how money is created. Unless and until you understand people in Barbados, they know the rate of exchange every day. They're upset when the rain falls. They're upset when they have too much sun. They're upset when the ship doesn't come in. Because they are concerned about the economy because they have no money, they have no gas, they have no oil.
They have no, yeah.
Okay?
And tourism, is it?
We have...
For people who don't know tourism, is it in Barbados? It's tourism all the time.
Every contract arrangement with the unions, we want 15, 10, and 5%.
Don't answer he.
We want 15, 10, and 5%. We want 15, 10, and 5%. We want 15, 10, and 5%.
I remember one of the contract negotiations where he named Mr. Piggy didn't have energy. He wanted he say how civil servants deserve to drive BMW too. Well, that was one of the quotes that he made. Well, and I remember thinking to myself, you can't be serious.
No, he is serious. He is serious. You think he's not serious? He's very serious.
No, he can't be serious.
He's very serious.
He can't be serious.
You see, that's why I'm saying, Chris, at the beginning of the program, we have to fix the problem in the country problem by problem. Because what is happening basically, you have, let's say, the civil service, let's take the police service, the prison officers. Now, I saw the newspapers yesterday or the day before. 3 fellas in the army take the army to high court because they didn't pass the test.
Because they didn't pass
the test. You understand what I'm saying here?
But they went to the school.
The fellow who didn't get promotion, they carried to the high court. Constitutional motion, this and that. And the same thing in the public service. The person starts up at the how do you call them? The clerk 1. They were clerk 1 25 years ago. But by attrition, they become clerk 2, 3, 4, AO1, AO2, AO3, AO4, AO5. But they have the same bad habits, the same coming to work late, the same not doing anything, signing in and going on into online. That's what they do all the time. Okay, most of them anyway. Okay? What has happened is that because we are not enclosing the people and guiding the people in a particular way, you have people now calling people stinkmouth in parliament. Children hearing that. You have people calling this boy who goes about with the camera or Whitehall and so on. What's his name again? I can't. Philip Alexander.
Right.
Okay? Now they want to join together for the local government election to beat the PNL. Is that really what this is about? Is it about beating the PNL? Is it about being in government? Or is it about having a better quality of life for the people? Take a pick. You have to decide which one you want. And when you decide which one you want, you do the thing necessary to whatever that needs to happen to improve the quality of life. And we're not doing that.
We're not. The Prime Minister said if these questions are not answered, this country will continue to face the issue of young men coming out of the education system totally unprepared for a responsible life.
He's right.
He is right.
He's right.
Keith Rowley, this must be the most honest statement you make in the last 5 years.
When he said about be careful to treat your partner who you sleep with, he was right about that as well. Just like when Morgan Gray said a lot of things about black children and nigger children and Tobago children and whatever else. He's right. But you see, the problem is that we have our heads in the sand. We don't want to face the reality. Look I was talking to a teacher in Chaguanas North. He said, young people there, you ask them, what do you have for breakfast? Doubles. What are you having for lunch? A pie. What are you having tonight for dinner? Doubles. And the question was asked, is your parent or your mother or your father cook for you?
Right.
Mommy don't cook. No, what is going to happen? That child has become sick from all the oil and stuff from the doubles and so. And then what happens now? The Ministry of Health budget goes up more because they wouldn't stay. They currently stay 6 hours in the hospital, and they have a lot of non-communicable diseases, a lot of crazy things going on in the country.
I think people don't understand.
It's just disorganized.
Which is one of the things, and looking at the camera so I can talk to the people out there, what you all don't understand, or what people miss, is that there's a cost to everything. So for example, what Michael has just talked about, let's take that you have a bunch of kids coming out of school that are not properly educated. There's a cost to that, because when they join the workforce, they are inefficient workers. And if they join the private workforce or even the public workforce, a task that might take an hour ends up taking 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, right? And so productivity is slowed down. So that in a private setting is loss of profits. No matter what you do, you can't get the job done that you could have get done with a different group of people. We used to go by a pizza lady when I was living in the States. She by herself would make more pizzas faster than when she had 2 or 3 people with her on a weekend, because she was just efficient at what she was doing. But when the people came, they would slow her down. And she used to laugh about it because they would get in the way. They didn't understand how to move around. They were usually kids, right? They didn't understand where they needed to be, how to take the order quick, how to respond. It's the same scenario. We have people in systems that you're talking to them and blank.
But Christopher, on the other hand, we are very efficient at liming. We are very efficient at getting up early to go on an excursion down on the beach to Mayaro.
Yes.
Very efficient.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a fete fail around carnival time?
Never.
Because everybody comes on time. The steel band comes on time, the music, the ice, the food,
So
everything.
we can't do it.
So we can't become efficient. It is just the will of the people in charge, the authorities, to ensure that the efficiency level is raised. And we're not demanding accountability for what people are doing or what they're not doing. And we continue, again I'm saying, that the problems are the same unless we change the system and unless we have new rules to the system. We will continue along the same road that Dr. Rowley is talking about.
But it's interesting. And Dr. Keith Rowley, I don't call him Dr. now.
No, Doctor is a show the other TV long ago. Eh? Doctor. So be careful.
He goes on to say a couple more. And of course, we have a large chunk of parents who are not ready for parenting, even in taking responsibility for the child they send to the school. And too many of them believe the government is responsible for that. The first responsibility for children is in the home. That is the first responsibility. And this country needs to get back to that. Mr. Rowley, you have not spoken through our words. I would say this though. I think quite a lot of government policy, both in the PNM and UNC, both of them, all of them, seriously, this PNM government policy is what created that environment where we tell people you don't need to be responsible. Yeah, I mean, well, not necessarily you tell them, but
blame the government.
Yeah, we created a culture where people didn't have to be responsible, and when they were or they were forced to be responsible, you jump in and say no, it's the government fault, right? Right now the opposition is doing exactly that. Sorry to say UNC, and my partner Rudal Munilal, who always messaging me and saying, yes, there are some things I agree with, but you can't just, a lot of times the opposition just opposing. They're not opposing with, what's the word I want to use? With credibility, with solving the problem in mind. They're just opposing.
Well, it seems to me that everybody wants to get into politics. Mommy, Lami, Papi, and Hahi.
Right,
want to get into politics. Because one, they wear the suits, they get the money from the MP, the senators, the councillors, and so on. And nothing is improving. Nothing is improving. The water situation is not improving. Despite the amount of Pombusa pump that Marvin Gonzalez say he installed himself. The electricity situation is not improving. In Curacao,
the roads are not improving.
Well, forget about the roads. I mean,
no, I can't forget about driving on them all the time.
You allowing cars to come in here. You have 3,000 vehicles coming here every Friday done by Movie Town. Right. Every Friday. Yet you have not said, well, okay, we're stopping the cars from coming for 6 months because you have too many cars on the road. Because this fella, I can't remember the guy's name, the president of the Used Cars and Dealers Association and some other guy, want to sue the government and get constitutional motion going for the government and so on. I mean, that is crazy. There's no planning. You take 5 years to build a road, and you're beginning to cash 3,000 every week. Something is wrong with that. Something has to be wrong with that.
It have to be.
But the people in charge.
And what very old cars, like in Japan, you know, in some of the islands, like St. Martin or a couple of the other islands like that, what happening is you have where old cars over a certain age, once they're not considered antiques, you have to get rid of them.
No.
Yeah, you have to remove them from the road. We don't do that.
We like to pack up cars. Check Western Police Station here. Check the one on
St. James.
Opposite the market.
They park all the cars on the road.
That's crazy.
Nonsense.
Right, but somebody has to take responsibility and say, this is bad. We have to fix that. And that's the point I'm making.
No.
And we're not doing that.
No.
When are we going to wake up and do that? So what happens now, just like how we say the young people go to the gangs, the police waiting on the politician, the politician waiting on the prime minister waiting on the election. And so it keeps going, and nobody takes responsibility for the things that need to be done. It's all well and good. We have all of these commission of inquiries, we have all of these presentations, energy conference, we have this, we have that. It sounds all good in theory, but we're not moving ahead. As a country, we're not getting
we're just
ahead.
talking.
I mean, we could start even with keeping the place clean.
I'm giving you a fact here, which you have discussed already. And let me, and I'm not cutting you. But I like this speech. So let me talk about it.
All right.
Hear this. This is the last party. The government. So let me give it.
I hope somebody don't blame me for being a PNM sycophant here this morning. But anyway, go ahead.
In July 2000, the then Basdeo Pandey-led United National Congress government announced its intention to implement universal secondary school education by September of that year. At the time, Kamla Persad-Bissessar held the post of Minister of Education. The government's rationale was to accommodate the nearly 10,000 students who fail common entrance exam annually. Now, you have made the point to me in discussions before. We've had that discussion where you have said, Chris, if you take 10,000 people failing common entrance every year for the last 30 years, 40 years, what we have is 400,000 people.
Close to half of the population.
Who are work in age, who are currently out there working. Hence, the problems we have. You have said it, you have said that it didn't happen by chance. You have made the point that if you take 10,000 people failing common entrance every year and multiply that by the number of years, 400,000+ people are in the workforce in our society, government. They're working as fire officers, police officers, in the civil service, in private companies.
And in addition to that, what we have done, we've dropped the standards for qualification. You used to have 5 subjects.
Yeah.
We're down to 3 subjects. It's gone to 1 and gone to none. We now have SRPs. Your SRP for 5 years, you don't give trouble, you behave yourself and so on, you become an active TTPS police officer. You have no subjects. There's a joke about people who charge a fellow Abercrombie Street where you couldn't spell Abercrombie Street, so you came on Hart Street. You came on Hart Street to spell, because you couldn't spell. Now, you know, guys can't write a report.
No,
you know, come on. There's some basic things that we need. But we are very efficient looking at Netflix. We're very efficient wearing Liverpool jersey, but we don't want to wear Sour Jab on. We don't want to wear, you know, the connection on, but we want to wear Man U. We want to, you know, that's our lifestyle. So unless and until we understand that we are our Trinidad Tobago, nothing will change. Nothing will change. Okay, so the PNM lose. So the UNC win. What will change?
Well,
all will change the people in the parliament and the councillors and the mayors. That will change. That will change.
Well, as you talk about that,
what will change?
Let me hear.
The MP's car loans will become due. And all them Prado park up outside will have to get sanitized and change owners.
Prado, listen. Right, all these parliamentarians doing is buying us Sadaga. I mean, that's another. But I like this because I think one of the root causes of where we are is exactly what was outlined in this article. Uneducated people leaving school. They're not educated. Chances are, if somebody is involved in criminal activity, gang activity, they're not somebody with 5 O levels, 2 A levels, and a degree. If you have 100 people involved in gang activity, killing, murder, drugs or whatever, less than 1% of them are educated. I bet in that any day.
Well, the ones who are educated will be the leaders.
Yeah, yes. But what I'm saying is, if we had, you know, they've talked about it in the Middle East. I remember I read an article in the Middle East about, well, not in the Middle East, I was reading about the Middle East at the time. And the guy was making the point that one of the biggest issues with terrorism in the Middle East was the fact that, one, there was a lack of education, and two, there was poverty. And he was directly relating the lack of education to poverty, and that if the education was better, and hence the poverty changed, and there was jobs, and there was middle class, that terrorism in the Middle East would be a very small factor compared to what it is now.
Chris, if we look back, okay, the fella can't go to school. Why? He has no passion to go to school. The fella can't go to school. Why? Because his mother wasn't able to buy a uniform for him to go to school or the books. He can't go to school because mommy didn't have any money to give him breakfast. So let me start there. And then let's go back a little more. Is mommy at home? No. Mommy gonna leave him and he wake up and there's no food in the house for him to go to school. Unless or until we correct those problems. Okay,
right.
We try with the CPAP and this. CPAP pays the guys $82 a day for 4 hours. You look around at CPAP. Whenever you look at the gangs, almost everybody in the CPAP gang driving a motor car. So what happens, the CPAP guy works until 10. What does he do after that? Now we've made smoking weed legal. So we're smoking weed. So we're planting 3 trees at home. So you have 6 people living in a house equal to 18 trees.
It's 4. So
okay,
like 24.
24. Okay.
24.
So these are some of the issues that we have to look at. And you look at, you know, the members of parliament and the councillors in the various hotspots and so on have to address those problems. But black people are proud people. They don't want to say you have no money. They don't want to say, well, I not need in my house. But they need stuff. We have to correct that to prepare the kids to get ahead. And I'm saying to you, these things are not changing. Shouldn't we be giving the children a guarantee them meals a day to come when they come to school? Some will have breakfast, some wouldn't have breakfast. They come to school early, they have breakfast, then they go to class.
So,
Mike,
I mean, I say
school feeding gives you breakfast. You do. You get breakfast and you
I know that system.
A box lunch.
I know that system. There's a school in Central. There's only twice for the week. All the food on the other days, people just carry home for their dogs.
oh, geez,
I'm telling you, they eat pizza and they eat curry.
Well, let me ask you a question.
You see, there's so many things that are wrong. You know,
Mike can't lie there, Chris. He can't lie.
I'm telling you.
No, I'm not doubting it. What I'm asking is this. In your opinion, right, so we have issues with, we have issues with the children at school. So this article is talking about the fact that a lot of children are leaving school uneducated. You are talking about some of the root causes of that,
That's
right?
correct.
Where you're be getting down into the root causes. You're saying here what's going on. What could be happening is you don't have a family system at home. When the kids leave home, their mother not there. They're not getting to eat. In your mind, let me take one problem, because in one of the biggest issues when you talk about, the Black Lives Matter in America flared up with the George Floyd killing, and it became a massive issue, and there was a large examination of black life in America and its interaction with white life in America, right? Okay. And a lot of things came to the fore. One of the things that came out was the fact that over the last 40 years, maybe 50 years, the amount of single mothers in black communities has risen considerably, right, over the last 40 years. And that has been directly attributed, or that is directly linked to a lot of young men finding themselves unemployed and or involved in crime. Right? So they have linked single mothers, fatherless families, single parent homes, crime, poor education. Right? And I'm not saying it's the exact same link in Trinidad.
Okay.
But for truth of the matter, that link probably still does exist. What is our suggestion to change it? Because we try not to be positive. We ain't going to criticize all the time.
Well, you know, there are a lot of things that can. I was in Tobago last week, right? And what struck me is the calmness of the schools. No distant noise in the school and so on. The teachers were all there working early. They came to work early. And I said, wow, why this can't happen in Trinidad? Because it's a cultural thing.
Right.
Okay? We don't have that many single parents. True enough, they have only 35,000 people.
Right, true.
Okay? But you know, you need to educate your daughter. You need to educate your son. You need to take responsibility for them. I remember in 1997, 98, when we opened Golf Football Club, we coached the children of the junior sec school, Mokapo Junior Sec, because we wanted to use the ground, and the principal agreed, and we did this. And I trained the children myself at Arthur Brown, Celis Figaro, and a lot, Peter Campbell, and people like that. And for 5 years, we saw one parent, one mother had to come. Why? Because she had to sign a form for the son to go on the aircraft to go to the Tobago to play a football game.
Right.
Do you understand what that means in our society?
So you have parents, their kids involved in something, but they are not involved.
We used to have to bring breakfast for kids on a Saturday morning because they didn't eat. They come to play football. What do you eat? I get a cup of tea. What else you had? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And I mean, it's starting there. But yet, you see, because of the lifestyle of the mothers and the fathers, the mother going online for the night, they leave no money for the child. If the child can't come, the child can't travel. So we used to have to provide breakfast in the morning. We did lunch. We didn't do dinner because they went home 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And helped these guys. And they were 10, 11 years old. Today, we have been disciplining them and so on. And they've done very well. We have a lot of success stories from the Mokapo Junior Sec, the people who like in this country, the junior sec types. And they've done pretty well for themselves. The point I'm making here is that it takes a village to mind a child.
Yeah.
It takes people to talk to children. Or we prefer not to talk to them because they're bad. Talk to them. There's nothing wrong with talking to a child, but don't talk down to the child. There's nothing wrong with helping them because they will remember you and they will recognize and respect you for what you're doing. We have lost that touch, that common touch. We've lost that opportunity to take care of our children. So now they're robbing us and they're invading the homes because we didn't take care of them. That's my view.
So we didn't take care of them. And you're talking about when I would have been a child. You're talking about in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s coming up. That kind of time.
We took care of our children then. But the parents of today, be it mother or father or whoever, is not taking care of the children.
Right, but how are we going to get back to what you seeing as I don't know what the word would be?
Well, you know, Chris, we have children making children.
Right. 14,
15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So two of them, the mother and the daughter, are going to the same fete in pom-pom shorts. Both of them, the mother and the daughter. Okay? And they're fighting one, right? Okay, now, the point here is that we have to educate the parents, not take the responsibility of minding the child. But look, right now, I am dealing with a young boy from Carenage, right? Every day I speak to the mother because she's not taking responsibility for what's supposed to happen with the boy. And I am helping them. I'm paying for the boy to come to school every day. It costs me $100 a week, right? I mean, I don't have a $250,000 building rent from the government. But I put out $100 a week to help the boy. I give it to his mother, who will give it to him. I don't give it to him. He's under 16. Okay? Right. Now, a lot of people just seem to believe that I don't give a blip about anybody because I okay. But we need to help the neighbor because if we don't help the neighbor is going to bust your throat. The neighbor is going to come after your house. They're going to come after whatever you have in your house.
Well, it really is a thing. So, we spent nearly an hour. No election observers. No election observers. All right, no election observers. What are you saying to that, boy? Rowley refuses Kamala's request, no election observers for local government election. Then PM says U.S. policy hurting TT. You know what I mean? PM sanctions against Venezuela hurting Trinidad and Tobago.
Just skipping that?
I ain't going to skip that, but there's my, you know what? I think this is...
Hey, watch that, they will bomb your house, brother.
This is Dr. Keith Rowley reaching for straws that not even, it ain't even have a straw there. Listen, with all due respect, how much money we earning, what he's talking about, for all who don't know, he's talking about the dragon gas deal out, which is kind of located in the Gulf of Paria. It's kind of like somewhere down in the corner there. The deal hasn't really started. We haven't drilled as yet. We haven't gotten any gas out of the deposit as yet. Yes, it might bring a windfall of money. It won't change shit. It won't change the same crap he just finished talk about.
Somebody has to strategically deal with that matter. It is not new news that the U.S. policy hurt people all over the world. That's standard for the U.S. Standard. If it is their interest, they're interested. If it's not in their interest, they're not interested.
Yeah. That's simple as it goes.
They invaded Panama to take Noriega. Poor Noriega. You have a clue. They mash him up.
I remember Noriega used to brandish a chrome cutlass. One manual on tag you.
In Grenada, there was nobody next to Cuba. It's too close to Florida. They attacked Grenada. Yeah. But, you know, they part for the course with the US. So I'm saying that you need to have somebody strategically to discuss and have a set of discussion with the US. But you have to have a policy in the country to deal with this policy. Because if the UNC wins the next election, okay, I'm not going to say God forbid. So I am not going to say that.
Don't say that.
If the UNC wins the next election,
anti-UNC. We're not anti-UNC. We're not anti-PNM either.
You may find that the policy will change.
It may change.
So, you know, we have all of those issues, and we have to determine what is the benefit for the quality of the people in the country, not of the party or not of the political leader of each.
Well, I think and again, I'm just speculating, but what I think for Keith Rowley and the government here is this is an immediate source of income, or close to as an immediate source of windfall income, and that will bolster the economy / the PNM's prospects of getting re-elected.
Chris, I wonder about that. What is this really about? If we get the money, what do we do with the money? We give it to the people. This is what we do. We keep doing that all the time. Why aren't we looking at different forms of revenue to encourage people to be working all the time and making foreign currency and so on? Yes, you'll get a lot of money from oil and so on, but what do? We create programs. We have OJT. What does OJT do in the government?
Nothing.
Give people $3,000 a month and $5,000 a month. Just sit down in an office while they do nothing. In an administrative capacity, we're not doing it. I mean, come on. That's not the way to run the place. But that's the policy in the country. Because if the UNC come to power, they will continue the OJT.
Of course, because they go on vote. The Prime Minister has said he will not call in foreign observers to observe local government elections, which he said are due in a few weeks.
He's right.
He's right. With all due respect to Anil Roberts, who is my friend, and Dr. Rudal Munilal, and all the other UNC people, you don't need Khadija Amin, she's also a friend. With all due respect, it's a local government election. There's been no record.
What is going to cost the country to bring in those people?
No, forget that.
No. Why I'm saying that?
It will have a cost.
Therefore,
$1 million.
The money can be redirected to something else.
It could be somebody hotel go get $1 million.
Right.
But hear what? Over the years, have we had any systemic fraud, electoral fraud in a local government election? That for the most part only 30, what is it? A high turnout for local government
37%.
37, 40. Let me throw it at 40. 40% of the people of the voting population come out and get interested. With all due respect, no, I don't think it's necessary. At this time, no.
Let me go and show you another issue, okay? You've been to the US.
Yes.
In South Florida, what do? You take your garbage and you carry it to a dumpster.
Yes.
In Trinidad, everybody put out a little massy bag, a little white bag from True Value with 2 pieces of garbage in it every day for a truck to pass, and they are making millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. And I'm happy for them. I also have my trucks. I'm happy for them. The point I'm making here is that if we continue to train people that way, we are never going to come out of the garbage story, the separation of the garbage between the plastics and the bottles and so on and so on. And that's my point. That is my point. Unless and until we do things differently. We're not saying you don't need the garbage people, but every day you're passing, every day to pack up. You're passing
Garbage passes by me 3 times a week.
Well, it used to be every day. It's now gone down to 3 times a week.
Yeah, it used to be every day.
I mean, that's crazy.
And then, and added to that, which is not in the papers, but I think I read it yesterday or the day before, there was the consistent Damian Leiter, who is a member of the opposition of the UNC, he's a senator in the UNC.
Okay.
Right, for this year. He made the statement that the property tax which is coming is going to be detrimental to business. And I know is the typical just make a statement that you think is going to be sensational, and because you're just making a statement, you're just making, yeah, I'm going to say something, I had to say something, I ain't saying nothing. You know what? You know how them listen, these men is be sitting in parliament, right? This how this go. I given all they was good. There's be sitting in parliament. What I could say, boy, what I could say, I must say something. I must say something. If I say something, I go say the paint on the road. Nah, that ain't gonna be good. I had to say something that the papers. Yeah, I feel that's what the men has to be sitting down in parliament doing. With all due respect to Mr. Leiter, this country, many of the businesses have been paying taxes, we pay green levy, we pay health surcharge, business levy, we pay VAT, we pay corporate tax, or should be paying corporate tax in most cases, and property tax would be, in the scheme of things, a very small tax, which for most businesses, prior to when the property tax kind of crumbled and the whole scenario fall apart, all businesses were paying anyhow, ones that own businesses, right? They were paying prior.
Once you own your property.
Once you own the property.
As the person who own your property has to pay the tax.
So even if it wasn't the actual business, it would have been, remember, there are a lot of business people who their business is renting commercial property. So they would have been paying, they would have been paying the tax. But to say that you don't want business property tax is a necessity. You talk about collection of garbage. That's part of dealing with.
No, I will simply say, how does the government earn money to manage the country? That's the question.
Taxes.
Good.
How else you go earn money?
Well, exactly.
How else you go
so then why no property tax?
Why?
Why no property tax?
Ask the tax. Ask the tax was such as, listen, to hear well-educated, intelligent people.
You really believe they're well-educated and intelligent? You really believe that?
Yeah. Yes. To make such a ridiculous, stupid statement like Axie tax, and then try to validate that nonsense in various speeches along the way, it was just embarrassing to them. Embarrassing. We need property tax. How that money from property tax is spent is a different thing. How it is managed, how it is collected, and how efficient, the cost of collection. And for people out there, let me give you an idea what I mean. If a tax is $1, there's a cost to collect that tax. If it's 5 cents to collect it, 10 cents to collect it on every dollar. Then how does the money get from where it is collected, by whatever agency this is, to who the end consumer is, which is always the citizens of the country. If it is to pave the roads, if it is to upgrade a school, if it is to various things, right? Those systems definitely need to be enhanced, get better. I think we are poor at it. But to say that we shouldn't collect property tax, that's nonsense. Waste of time.
It's like the business people saying the timing is poor. Now,
timing always poor. Every tax is poor.
Let me tell you how I like to categorize people and things. I always tell some of my associates, the numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9.
Right.
You take 9 as the highest level educated, etc., most successful, and you take 1.
Right.
Ideally, if everybody in the country is a 5, ideally,
right,
then you have, for me, you have a successful country. The 5s and the 7s and the 9s needs to help the 1 to the 3 to get to the 5.
Right.
Okay? Now, sounds simple, sounds just numbers. But it's the same point I was making earlier. You have to help the people who are not working. We do not have a system set up whereby people sit every day and come for an interview and try to get a job here and job there and job there or whatever. We need to do things like that. We need to change the way we do things. We need to change the way we employ people. But we focus on trying to buy, how do you call these things, a crane for the port, a crane. for the port. But we have a big port down in Point Lisas. Why don't we shut down Port of Spain port, and then do everything in Point Lisas? We have a CES, a container examination system, however, in Point Lisas. We have none in Port of Spain. So we're now going to buy one. Okay? And 30 miles away, 50 miles away, you have a system down in Point Lisas.
That working.
That's right.
And the reason for that is purely political.
It's
And if you make decisions that are purely political,
you're not helping the country.
You're not helping the country. You're bound to fail.
Yeah,
and you're going back to the same thing. Dr. Rowley is talking about the education. He's talking about the education system and the education system producing a particular type of individual or people running through the education system. He changed it. The PNM was in power the longest in this country, had the most command of the education system. Right? Take 5 years for Baz. Let me say, well, how long he was? 95 to 2000, 2001 he was in power, so about 5.5 years. And let me give Cams 5 years. She was what, 2010 to 2015, give or take. Right? So that's 10. NER 86 to 91. So that's 15 years. 15 years out of 60 years of governance or more. You have 15 years of non-PNM rule.
Non-governance.
Right? And in those years is when the most changes in the education system was made.
Which years? The 15 years or the 36 years?
The 15.
No, you see, listen.
And he come in here to talk about it. And you see, that's the hypocrisy. I mean, I'm glad he recognized the hypocrisy because the only thing he ain't saying that part is blame the PNM for where we are.
Look.
And I'm not saying that he should. I'm just saying that that's the only thing he ain't saying.
Dr. Eric Williams, rest his soul, he changed the education system where we had the secondary school system. Right? He changed that. And that was a significant change for this country.
It was.
Where everybody in the country got the opportunity to be able to further their education, etc., etc.
Right.
That was in 1956, 58,
and
60.
For people who don't know.
We now have to change that system to something else.
For people who don't know, before 1956, where Michael was talking about when you went to primary school, if you didn't pass for college like St. Mary's, right? You did what was called post-secondary, post-primary school education, where you did 3 more years, right? It was 3 more years. Hence, that is the reason why when they started secondary schools, or the government came out with secondary schools, junior secondary schools were just 3-year schools. So now you understand it. You get a little education there, hopefully, right? So that's what the scene was. But you know what? A lot of children that did post-primary education came out way better than plenty children who leave in school after 5 years right now. And that is confirmed by Dr. Rowley. He said so, not me, not Chris Gill. He said so.
But you see, Chris, everybody says, what has the PNM done? They like to say that. People like to say that. And I am not going to say what has the UNC done or what has the PP done or whatever, right? We have a government, or any government, to help to run the country, to administrate the country. And the progress that is made, either in education, in health, in security, and so on, I think that we accept as what should happen. The question is, are we, as a people, improving in our quality of life?
No.
Okay.
No,
What
no.
do we need to change that? Is it that we need to change the government? We need to change to have an executive president? Is that we need to change the constitution?
Yes.
There's so many things.
Yes.
The point is,
we need to change the constitution. We need an executive president.
What will work for us? What is going to work for us? You know, and people could make contributions to determine what is best for the government. What is best for Digger Martin? The government has a regional corporation. Making it a borough, does that change the fact that the garbage will still have to be picked up?
No.
What it is we need to do as a group, as a borough, as a regional corporation to make sure the things are done properly.
Does it mean the roads will get fixed sooner?
These are the kinds of things that we need to
address. Does it mean we'll get a better water supply?
Yeah.
Imagine where my parents living in Digger Martin, when I used to live at their house, it is 30 plus years ago, right? We used to get water Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. You know what days again water now? Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I ain't joking. 30-something years later, they still can't get water every day. In Digger Martin. How? 33 years passed, and we still can't get water. It still have man going by and I'm sure, take a vow for this. It have man going by the tea, and you do so and put it down in the hole in the road, and turn the stopcock. Still have man doing that.
You know what's the problem?
Still a man doing that.
We have pipes, because the water is a pipe network, right? The pipe network, the people in Wassa who knew what was going on and where those pipes were, they all either retired or dead. Parts of Port of Spain's pipe network are unknown to people in Wassa. This is a fact. So that's a question of whether we could get water today versus 30 years ago. I can tell you 10 years from now, it's going to be worse. So as bad as you think it is right now,
It's going to get worse.
we are sitting on a multi-billion dollar water bomb. That's what's going on.
Well,
Right. And you know what? I have no doubt about that. But like you're saying, they talk about local government reform, and some of it that I read, and I didn't get a chance to read all of it. Some of it that I read was interesting, and I like what was happening. I like the vibe, and again, I have nothing other than we need to make changes, right? And changes are difficult. Good, and you're making these changes, but as you say, after the changes are made, the people who run in these organs, will they actually enact these changes? Will these changes actually make the life of the citizen, us, we, better? Will our roads be better? Will our garbage be picked up better? Will it cost less? Will we have recycling in our constituencies and our regional corporations? Listen, you drive down in Pente, the regional corporation, you're passing all kind of abandoned football field, grass growing tall, any of these regional corporations have libraries that operate efficiently. Some of them do, some of them don't. Right? What's he seen? And in some cases, just have one. None of that changing.
I said to you earlier, and I will continue to say,
You will always.
everything remains the same. You do the same thing, and expect to get different results. It ain't going to work.
It has never worked.
Anyway, after the commercial break, we have to go to sport. We got to go to sport.
No, we can go to sport now. Let me go to sport. Because, listen, the other thing, of course, you want to talk about football. Talk your mind.
No. Claude Noel. You think you're going to help him to bury Claude Noel?
Here where you go on.
No, I'm asking a question.
All right, let me go back to Claude Noel. Claude Noel, you know what? Claude Noel is a good example. I don't think Claude Noel was a well-educated man.
No, you grew up in an orphanage.
He grew up right around the corner from me, St. Michael Home for Boys,
That's
where
correct.
I used to live.
Yeah.
And
Where you used to live in the home for boys?
no, I used to live close by. and then when he built title, they put him in a house across the river from me. So I used to watch him in the house. So yeah, I used to see him. So again, Claude Noel has done more for the country than most politicians.
True.
And I think he deserves a state funeral. Simple as that.
Or at least the government should have just for the burial cost.
I think he deserves
not
that.
necessarily a
Listen, the
state
man was our world champion. The man did his best to bring Trinidad to a certain level and to elevate them. And they should get the man a state
You see,
funeral.
Chris, this is my point. All of these things that you pull it together and you make a country proud and the country goes forward as one. Those things are not happening, whether it's in sport, whether it's in fixing the road. People like to embarrass the government. What embarrassing the government is embarrassing yourself.
Yes,
because
it is.
you put them there.
Yes,
you
we
understand?
put them there.
So
We
when you want to
definitely-
mark people and put a man inside of a manhole, where's that one? Where's that one? No. The other thing, that's that. No, what happened? It is Trinidadians who come and fix the manhole, no. It's not fella from Grenada or China. So it's one of your own people who did a poor job.
Poor
Job. And then you want to blame the government. Well, blame the government. So we talk what boxing. Nicholas Pone has done exceedingly well. Just recently he won in Germany.
Yeah, he's doing
Fantastic
fantastic.
guy. Fantastic. Let's hope the government observe that. Let's hope the community, the Chamber of Commerce and all of these kinds of people support the efforts of these people that put the Trinidad Tobago on the map. That's what's important.
But
Nicholas getting elite athlete funding through the Ministry of Sport. He gets the maximum allowable under that, and he also has a sponsorship deal with Republic Bank.
Yes, he does.
But so hear me, and he does. But hear me. And again, let's take, we could use cycling as our sport, just on the side. With minimal investment in cycling, not Nicholas Paul are talking about, in cycling, we have created a Nicholas Paul.
True, very true.
Right? Minimal. with no kind of development program, no systems, we have created things. The same thing can go for, we created Dwight York. We had a Dwight York run out here, that man run up and down. The man is still a Manchester United star. To this day,
Yes.
when he go there, Dwight. They love him, and but me and the lads. Dwight and the lads, right? All of that, right? Russell Latapy cannot be underestimated what he did for Porto and his contribution to European leagues and stuff, right? And in them days we had who? Leonson Lewis. Who else we had up running in
Cornell Glenn was running up.
Cornell Glenn thing, eh?
Sean Cooper was
right.
there as well.
The next one, the red one, who played for
Roger.
the one who played for Ipswich.
Tallest.
Right. No, not Tallest. The
Yeah,
one who,
Tallest.
no.
Just call him Tallest. The one who scored the goal.
Carlos Edwards. And then you had the next tall one now.
Tallest.
Kenwin Jones. Right?
Was.
We had lots of. Is there any concerted effort to invest in football in a way that will help just what this Prime Minister just talked about, where instead of having 10,000 people failing common entrance, we could have people who have some kind of thing that they, instead of going towards crime because they're failing in school, they could go towards football. No. We don't have that. Neither from the government nor corporate citizens. And you know what as I tell people? Yes, maybe the Ministry of Sport or the whatever, but you know what? Corporate citizens could they could run their own system.
No,
they could say, hey, we're going to have...
They only get involved when you're successful.
Yes.
They don't get involved and they don't do the investment. And it is...
And then you know what? It turn around, the same people who not invest in, these corporate citizens who don't invest, corporate citizens, you all don't invest. And then what happens? You all are the ones with the employees who lack skills. You all are the ones who have to then employ people who can't read and write, who can't function, who have no discipline, who can't reach on time, who can't produce properly, who's sucking the lifeblood out of your same company, but you don't want to invest.
And you are the ones who they are invading your homes because
Yes.
if the money is spending on them, they're now taking it away from you.
Right, and then and the same businesses who, to run your business, you have to have 10,000 pieces of burglar proof, 7 security guard per square foot, right?
And cameras that are not working.
Right, and cameras are not working. And then turning around and can't figure it out.
Yeah. Zero.
Can't figure it out.
Chris, your favorite topic, football. What's the deal? What's the recent deal?
My favorite topic. Man say my favorite topic, you know.
No, I heard.
Let me hear what you hear.
I heard that the people who was owed money by the TTFA were paid on the 23rd and 24th of March.
You could verify.
Well,
With the exception of Terry Fennick, he get paid.
Well, I heard that from
Good morning, Terry Fennick.
I heard that from
London 868.
I heard that from a gentleman who is involved in football, very close to, at a high level, and he explained that, and I asked the question, so how come that wasn't in the newspaper? I can't remember reading that. And if that is the case, therefore, then there are 2 outstanding items, which is the constitutional reform that the TTFA has spoken
Supposed
about
to engage in,
FIFA,
right.
and then the AGM.
Which will mean the end of the normalization
Well,
committee in
you
terms
see,
of its term of office.
Okay, that will mean the end of that. Here's my question. All these tours the national team is going on, who is sponsoring that? Who is financing that?
Government?
Which government? Which government? The football government. The football government.
Let me ask you that question.
I know.
Let me ask you that question. When was Jack Warner's first foray into the TTFA, right? We're talking about late 80s, right? 90. Like give him 90.
Nah, might be before that.
Like give him 90, right? So from, let me say, no, 90 was Italy, so
Yeah,
before
90.
that.
No,
let me say
88.
let's say 88.
Yeah.
Right? So between 1988 and 2019, we had normal governance, right? And we accumulated how much debt? Getting normalization some credit now with 3 years or whatever it is, they pay off all the debt, they clear out all the clowns, right? They're running a show and it televised every night, not very good, but it televised. It looks like if it's being recorded on cell phones, maybe Nokia's, but it being televised. What you vex for?
I'm not vexed.
What you vex for? Mike want to slap me. He was like, what is this?
No, hold on a minute. My thing with the football in the country is that we are not running the football.
I think that's a good thing.
No, that can't be good for the football. Now, cycling runs their own arrangement, to the cricket run their own arrangement. Why can't we run it? No.
I ain't sure that cycling run their own
I just-
arrangement.
You use one real bad example.
Okay, I take that back. But the point here is that football needs to be
Walk around
structured.
to the front.
With all
You
credit
see the buzzer next to the door.
to the normalization committee, they've put a structure
Yeah,
in
to the
place
front.
for the football.
And you see, walk up the little steps and you see the buzzer
But
and just
what
press the buzzer.
The deal here is that FIFA
I will
is spending
stay. I see you in the garage. I see you on the
for
thing.
Trinidad
We have
to
2
be
minutes,
able
so I
to-
come in for you now.
Trinidad to be able to play football
Right, so
all over
stay there in the
world.
garage.
Practice game in Guatemala, game in Africa, game in Egypt, and so on and so on. But when that is done, and they remove the normalization committee, will FIFA continue to use the money with whoever the governance structure will be, whoever the president will be? And that is my concern. So in other words, you're like a stepchild. Right? You leave the mother and you go away, so the little boy suffering. He can't get nothing again. When he was home with the mother, the boy benefiting. But you're gone. So the boy ain't benefiting again. Now, the question is, you have a first tier, a second tier. Great. You have to go to football in the Caribbean Cup, etc., etc. It's something good. But what about the development? Again, we're doing the same thing every year and expect to get a different result.
We have no development in football. We have no development in
That's
football.
my concern
And
with
we
football.
also have no development from an administrative policy and administrative system in football. The way we are governing football now and the way we will be governing football in the next 5 years is the same. Yes, I agree with the fact that the normalization committee needed to come in. I don't agree with the fact that the normalization committee is the final solution to our football problem.
I agree with what
It
you
can
say.
be, right? So the normalization committee was always going to be temporary and will always be temporary, and it had to leave at some time, and we got to figure out what we're doing when it leaves. And apparently we're not doing that right now. We have 1 minute. Say what you had to say.
So you say all what you got to say. Next week I will cover you.
With a blanket? You're covering me, what you covering me with?
With the blood of Jesus Christ.
What's in?
Why? Hey, the people, hey, this hour past by. Alright, well, first episode of Pitchfork Politics. I want to thank Michael. I want to thank Dennis Tialin, who is doing all the technical stuff and thing. And of course, we're going to have guests. We're going to have people coming in. We're going to have people interviewing them. We know plenty people. We know plenty people. We ask them for their opinion and we going to rough them up and thing.
Yeah. Old Christopher.
Yeah, I will call her. This is Christopher Gill. You've been looking at Pitchfork Politics. You have a wonderful day. We hope we have educated you. We are out.